most of you know, Mr. Klein served as Chancellor of the New York City Department of Education from 2002 until 2011 under Mayor Michael Bloomberg. He served at a historic time just after the mayor persuaded the state legislature to grant him control over the New York City schools. Mr. Klein embarked on an ambitious and sometimes controversial reform agenda. He broadly expanded charter schools. He shut down a number of failing high schools and opened new smaller high schools. He pushed for teacher evaluations to be more closely tied to student performance and student progress. He improved the training of principals and empowered principals to hire teachers at their own schools, and a number of other accomplishments too. Before that, he was a career attorney. He served in the Clinton administration. He handled Whitewater. He handled Supreme Court nominations. After that, he led the antitrust division of the Department of Justice. And he currently serves as CEO of Amplify, which is the education division of Rupert Murdoch's News Corp. He's also the author of a new book published just last year. It's called Lessons of Hope: How to Fix Our Schools. So please join me in welcoming Joel Klein. So I just wanted to start with the question. As you write in your book, when you became New York City Schools Chancellor, you had very little background in education. So what motivated you to take on the challenge of education reform?
Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to be with you. I was privileged to listen to the last panel, which was terrific. And Jaime, I would tell your mother, I was, unlike you, a lawyer. I've been there and done that. It's highly overrated, so you're doing great stuff.
That's what I've been trying to tell her.
If you need me to go to Hell's Kitchen with you, I'll be happy to do that.
She'll love dinner.
And I'd like to say, I'm privileged to have attended literally. I can't count how many different conferences like this. You'll very rarely see packaged in a half an hour the wisdom that Craig Barrett just imparted to this crowd. He's really, you know, we talk so much about 21st century skills and a whole new world and all of that, but if we don't get the edifice of this construct right, and we don't bring what I like to view as 19th century wisdom to 21st century problems, we're going to actually miss all of the appropriate scaffolding we need. And that man just gave it to you. And the fact that he's doing such incredible work in his schools, where you measure it how you want to measure it, but by any cognizable measure, getting really extraordinary results, is a tribute both to your commitment and to your capacity, Craig. So thank you for being with us. So the answer to the question of why did I go into this, I was a career lawyer at the time. I was working at Bertelsmann. I had just finished suing Microsoft, which was a career-ending antitrust suit for me. And I figured I had very little opportunity, and so I would try education. And my friends say I did it because I'm nuts, but the real reason I did it is a combination of three intervening factors. First and foremost, and Craig touched on this, look, I think the future of this country, the whole inequality debate, the whole have-nots, all of those issues, that's going to depend on educating massive number of kids to an entirely different level. As Jaime said, most often children of color who grow up in poverty communities, and there's a lot we need to address those issues, but the indispensable criteria is to get those kids educated. And the shame of America is that so many of those kids are being poorly educated today and are going to be massively unprepared or underprepared for the 21st century. And so I felt personally that if I could bring whatever talents, whatever passions, whatever commitments I had to tackle that problem, I would be privileged. I had worked on it with Anthony Williams in Washington, D.C. when I was in the Clinton administration, and I felt that this was really high priority for me. Second reason was Mike Bloomberg had just become mayor, and it had taken control of the schools, something that was very rare and politically unastute. As I said to the mayor, I said, why do you want control of the public schools? There's no urban district that's running a great public school system. It's not someplace you can go and say, okay, we want to be just like them. So what you're going to do is you're going to take control of the system, you're going to try and do a lot, and you're going to run for office a few years later, and people are going to say you didn't fix the schools, because nobody fixed the schools in 3 years. So why do you want to do it? But Bloomberg was really determined, and by taking the authority, gave us a chance to at least get things done. The paralysis of school boards in that 14, 15, or 17,000 different school districts is one of the real problems we face in K to 12. And so having a mayor that was willing both to accept the authority and the accountability mattered to me. And third, as is often the case, was very personal to me. Having grown up in Astoria, Queens, gone to schools where teachers changed the trajectory of my life, the son of a postman, lived in public housing, and was able to go on to a higher academic achievement, to do things like being chancellor of the school system I went to, was a personal passion. So those were the kind of confluence of factors that led me to do it. And while I will say it was at times a murderously hard and frustrating job, there's no work I've ever done that has been more rewarding and more gratifying.